In this section of the course, we're going to start to talk about Excel lists, because Excel lists really are the backbone of working with data in Excel. So we need to understand exactly what they are and how best to structure our data. When we have our data in list form, we can do many things with that data. We can add filters, we can sort the data, we can create tables, or maybe even analyze the data using other Excel tools like pivot tables. But in order to do any of that, we need to make sure that we have our data in the correct format first of all. So if you take a look at the spreadsheet on the screen, you can see that we have some list data. And list data really is just anything that is in columns and rows. And for the most part, the majority of the data that you're going to be working with is going to be in this structure, where we have column headings at the top, and then we have our records or our rows underneath. And that is the first really important point. When you're working with list data, or if you want to do anything with your data, you need to make sure that you have a heading row at the top, because a heading row serves a few different purposes. The most obvious purpose is that the heading row acts as an identifier for the data contained below. So we can see very quickly that this column contains employee names, this column contains departments, this column contains job titles. If we didn't have a heading row in here, like that, it makes it a lot harder to identify what type of information we have. For example, if you take a look at column F, it's not particularly easy for me to ascertain what this number actually represents. So I'm going to Control Z just to put those headings back into my data. Now, when it comes to adding a heading row up here, there's no standard naming convention. You can literally name your columns whatever you like. I would say though, try to keep them reasonably short. You don't want extremely long column heading names, because that's just going to make your column really wide and your data is going to start to run off the page, and you're going to need to use your horizontal scroll bar. So keep the headings short and sweet. Another reason why it's beneficial to add a heading row into your data is that Excel uses the heading row for many different things. For example, if we were to create an Excel table out of this data, Excel uses that heading row to structure the table. Also, if we're working with formulas, the formula identifies information based off of the heading row. Now, currently we don't have any formatting applied to our heading row. I would always advise that you do format this top row just to make it stand out from the rest of the data. That might be as simple as making the text bold, or you could get a little bit fancier by adding a background fill color. So now it really does just identify that heading row from the rest of the data and just makes it a lot easier to read.
Hi, from everyone at Simon Says It. We hope you're enjoying this training lesson. Please like this video to show your support for the channel. If you want to take your learning further, earn a certificate for this course, and gain access to over 200 courses ad-free, click up there and go to simonsaysit.com. Thanks for watching, and back to the course.
Now, another thing you want to make sure that you get rid of when you're working with your data sets is any blank rows in your data. You can see that I have a few blank rows scattered throughout this data set. Now, this is a very small data set just for demonstration purposes, but imagine if you had a data set that maybe had 20, 50, 100,000 rows, and you have blank rows scattered throughout. Now, you could go through and manually start removing these rows by simply selecting the row, right-clicking your mouse and choosing Delete. But again, if you have a very large data set and lots of blank rows that you need to remove, that's going to be very time-consuming. So I just want to show you a really quick trick when it comes to removing all of those blank rows. Now, if you have a reasonably small data set, you can simply select everything like that. Or if you have a larger data set, you could select all of the columns like that. Now, I'm going to make my selection like this. And what we can do here is we can go up to the Home tab, go across to Find and Select, and choose Go to Special. Now, it's worth noting that there is a shortcut key for this as well. If you press Control G and then click on Special, it's going to take you to the same place. Now, in here, this is where we can select different things that meet these pieces of criteria. And notice that one of the options that we have in here is blanks. So if I select this, it's going to select any blank cells within our selection. So let's click on OK, and you can see it automatically highlights all of those blank rows, much quicker than going through and doing it all manually. Once we have these highlighted, we can go back up to the Home ribbon, go into the Cells group and click the Delete drop-down and simply say Delete Sheet Rows. That's going to get rid of all of those blanks in a fraction of the time. So make sure that you're removing blank rows from your dataset. And another thing I would advise that you do before you start to analyze your data is make sure that you spell check your data and make any corrections. So if we go to the Review tab, notice in the Proofing group, the first option we have here is spelling. There is also a keyboard shortcut for this of F7. So let's click on spelling, and it's going to search through our data to find any spelling errors. Now it's really important that you do fix spelling errors because this can throw up unexpected results. For example, when you're filtering your data. You can see here it's found that I've spelt the word representative wrong. So you can imagine if I was filtering this list for sales representative, it's not currently going to find this record just here. So I want to make sure that I correct that. I'm going to select one of the suggestions below and click on change. It's then going to move on to the next incorrectly spelt word. And you can see here that I've spelled analyst wrong. So again, I'm going to choose one of the suggestions, click on change. I'm going to say yes, let's check from the beginning. And you can see spell check is now complete. So make sure you spell check your data. Another thing I would always do prior to any analysis is make sure that I have the correct formatting applied to each column. Now, most of this looks fine. However, the salary column just here, I'm not particularly happy with how these numbers are formatted. So I'm going to select this data, Control Shift down arrow. I'm going to go to the Home tab and I'm going to have a comma separator in there and I'm going to take those decimal places down to 0. You could even add a currency symbol if you wanted to, so let's actually do that. It makes a bit more sense. I'm going to apply a counting number format, take those decimal places down, and that looks good. So now that I have some semblance of structure to my data, it's pretty much ready for me to go in and start to use other Excel analysis tools. And that's exactly what we're going to move on to in the next lesson.
Congratulations on reaching the end of this training video. Continue your training in Excel 365 for beginners with the next video in the series by clicking over here. For more related training videos, click over here to watch this popular playlist of free learning resources. To see more videos like this one, click below to subscribe.